We are the guardians of the Looking Glass. We are a group of former intelligence officers and military officials who have come together to release classified information about future events to come. Our knowledge comes from our work on the Looking Glass artifact, first discovered in Iraq, along with other discoveries in the 1990s.
Anyone who's doing research into the Project Looking Glass from the past, and this goes back, I think, the first public outings of it started happening around 2002, I believe it already. And, the one that most people know is the one, with this Bill Wood one out there. But one people don't really know is that there was a guy called Dan Burish involved. Dan Burish was probably far more involved than Bill Wood ever was, if Bill Wood even was involved, because we're now learning a lot about him, that he may be a total fraud, he might be a controlled opposition. So this guy, Dan Burish, he went way deeper into it, and he was actually interacting with this J-Rod extraterrestrial, which actually is one of our descendants, as crazy as it sounds, from 52,000 years in the future. And during the course of his interaction, of course, that's when the whole Looking Glass thing began to be deployed, and they were studying and analyzing it, and they basically were looking at these timelines. And the one timeline they all came up with at the end as being the most probable, they called it T1 version 83. And in that timeline, I'll tell you, I went back over it again the other day, just reading through some of my notes, and really none of it happened the way they, planned. So, which is and I know that there were actors going, in Congress that were aware of this project, and they were doing their best to, to steer away from these events from happening that were described in that T1 version 83, and somehow they managed it. So what I want to say is that each of us affects the timeline, even in the smallest little way, because basically, we have, in our actions and our thoughts, these ripple out into the universe.
The Looking Glass artifact showed this to us, that it is dependent on the actions of others to change the outcomes. Your work and help to spread this message then becomes vital. It will be up to you what happens. For our first video, we will start with one future date. Future videos we will post will deal with new dates and new events. What follows is the most recent, most important event we must act to change. The date of the first event is April 18, 2022. On this date, a false flag attack will occur in New York City. A bomb will be set off, killing 2,000 Americans instantly and injuring thousands. The bomb will be housed in a large van and set off on or near Times Square during a busy time.
Multiple people have been shot. They're in the subway station and they found several undetonated devices. This is a really active scene right now, as you can see, and police are still getting more information, but they believe a man dressed in a gas mask and construction vest shot at least 5 people.